2 million additional shoppers are expected this Thanksgiving weekend compared to a year ago. Joining us right now is Sucharita Kodali from Forrester Research. And Sucharita, maybe that's not a surprise given a year ago. I don't know where this measures up versus 2 years ago.
Right. It is up a little bit, Becky, but not in a substantial way. We're expecting overall retail to grow in the low single digits, but the vast majority of that growth is coming from e-commerce. So that's where we'll see the biggest gains is consumers continuing to shop online and shop through e-commerce channels. That's where they continue to feel safest. And we have to remember that there are at least a third of people who still are not yet completely comfortable shopping in physical stores.
Obviously, the big winners are going to be the big box retailers, those who have the size and scope to deal with things like inflation and supply chain issues. What about the other retailers, those in the malls?
I think that those retailers are going to be the most challenged, well, certainly because of the supply chain issues. A number of them tend to be apparel merchants or footwear merchants where they had some of the biggest issues with factories actually producing their merchandise, getting them over to wherever was the final destination. They were often air freighting merchandise as well, which also increased costs beyond what they had expected earlier in the season. So I think that we'll see likely a lot of out of stocks on some of the best sellers for those mall merchants. So that's a problem. Then you have what could potentially be, especially in B malls, probably flat, potentially even down traffic. So that's not going to hurt. That's not going to help their situation either. Consumers are just more likely going to buy at one-stop shops because that's where they can get more of the merchandise. And that's often going to be at mass merchants or at Amazon, candidly.
Very quickly, we have gotten used to not seeing sales in a long time. Do you think that trend's going to continue, not only in through Christmas, but beyond?
Right. Well, we did a survey of merchants recently, and a third of them said that they're actually going to reduce the number of promotions and offers that they are going to provide this week, next week, and through December. So that is absolutely something that consumers can expect is not the deep discounts and certainly not the prevalence of the sales that they saw last year or even in 2019. But because a lot of the merchandise is still sitting on container ships or is en route, what I do expect is late December and perhaps in early 2022 to see a lot of that merchandise that never made its way to stores when it was expected. That's when we can probably expect the discounts and the deals.